Somewhere there is a video of your third birthday. You are in it. And you have no memory of being that person. You laughed. You cried. You learned to walk and to talk. You lived roughly 1,000 days, and almost all of them are gone. Not blurry, not faded. Gone. As if they happened to someone else entirely. This is called childhood amnesia. And for a long time, nobody could explain it. The obvious guess was simple. Babies just don't form memories yet. But that guess is wrong. And we can prove it. A 2-year-old can tell you what happened last week. In perfect detail. They remember faces, songs. They remember exactly where the toys are hidden. The memory is there. It works. And then, a few years later, it quietly disappears. So the memories form. Then something erases them. To understand what, meet the part of your brain that saves them. Deep inside sits a small curved structure. It's called the hippocampus. Think of it as a librarian. It doesn't store the books, it files them. It decides where in your mind each one belongs. Without a working librarian, the books still arrive. They just never get shelved. They pile up and vanish. And in a small child, the librarian is brand new, barely on the job. But that isn't the real problem. The real problem is much stranger. Because your child's brain wasn't sitting still. It was under construction. It built new cells at a speed it will never reach again. Scientists call this neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons. For decades, this looked like good news. More cells, more brain. What could be wrong with that? Then a team asked a question nobody had asked. What happens to an old memory when you cram new cells in all around it? In 2014, a study in the journal Science gave a chilling answer. The scientists were Paul Franklin and Sheena Jocelyn in Toronto. They taught young animals a memory, then watched their brains keep growing. As the new neurons wired in, the old memory didn't strengthen. It broke apart. The very growth that makes a child's brain powerful was overwriting its own past. The library itself kept getting rebuilt around the librarian. Then they did the opposite. They slowed the new cells down, and the old memories survived. The forgetting had a cause, and they had found it. The price of the fastest brain of your life was your earliest memories. But biology was only the first layer. There's a second reason it fades, and it isn't about cells, it's about words. Try to remember something from before you could speak. You can't. And that's the clue. A memory needs a shape to be stored. For humans, that shape is language. A baby feels everything but has almost no words. Nothing to pin those feelings down. The experience happens, but there's no thread to hang it on, so it drifts away. A psychologist named Gabrielle Simcock tested exactly this. She showed toddlers a strange machine, then came back months later to ask about it. The children could only describe it with words they knew back then. New words they'd learned since could not unlock the old memory. It was sealed, locked in a language the child no longer spoke. So far, this sounds like loss, blank space where a childhood should be. But it gets worse, because your mind refuses to leave that space empty. You do have early memories, bright, vivid, certain ones, and that is exactly the problem. Many of them never happened. Your brain built them after the fact. It works from raw material. A family photo, a story told at dinner, an old home video. Your mind stitches those pieces into a first-person scene, and then it stamps it with a feeling. I was there. I remember this. A researcher named Jean Piaget carried one such memory for years. He remembered a man trying to kidnap him from his baby carriage. The scratches on his nurse's face, the crowd, the street, vivid. Years later, the nurse confessed. She had made the whole story up. There was no kidnapper. He built the memory from a lie he overheard. One of history's great minds could not tell his past from a story. And if he couldn't, what makes you so sure about yours? In a lab, this is disturbingly easy to do. On purpose. Adults were given 4 childhood stories from their families. 3 were true. The 4th was invented, getting lost in a shopping mall as a small child. Just by being asked to recall it, a quarter of people remembered it. They added the fear. A kind stranger. Details that never occurred. Your memory isn't a recording. It's a story you retell, and you edit it every single time. Then save the edited version. So the memory you trust most may be the one you've rewritten the most. Now look at what this means for who you are. You believe you're one continuous person, back to the beginning. But the first stretch of that line isn't memory, it's reconstruction. That child gave everything they were to build you and left no record you can read. The forgetting was never a malfunction. It was the cost of becoming you.